Wonderful. Well, welcome everyone to the New England Hemophilia Association's one of our final webinars in our Webinar Wednesday series. My name is Sarah Shinkman and I am the program director for NEHA. It's really wonderful to be here with you all and we appreciate you making the time to join us tonight. As we continue to navigate the current healthcare crisis, NEHA's primary concern continues to be the health and wellness of the individuals and families we serve. We are committed to helping you stay healthy, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Our goal is to keep you as informed as possible and continue to provide opportunities for connection and education, including our weekly webinar series on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Tonight's webinar is all about wrapping up the new year and will include a presentation on understanding mental health challenges people may be experiencing during COVID, as well as these winter months. And I know living in New England, they often the nights start much earlier than what we would like. We have a wonderful speaker tonight who will share tips on self-care and how to maintain realistic goals for your mental and physical health going into the new year. We will wrap up, pun intended, with what is sure to be a lively and entertaining gift wrapping demonstration. NEHA and CHS would like to thank the Hemophilia Federation of America, HFA, for their support of tonight's webinar. Both organizations are member organizations of HFA and partner on many initiatives, including educational programs and webinars. So we're grateful for their support. We are thrilled to welcome Dr. Gary Mclean and Michael DeGrandpré, HFA's creative director, also NEHA volunteer and DJ extraordinaire. Some of you may remember Gary from our New Families Retreat earlier this year. Gary also presented on a webinar on isolation at the beginning of the pandemic. And we really appreciate that presentation. So we're so glad that Gary was able to join us tonight. Gary is a therapist who's based in New York City and specializes in working with adults who receive a medical diagnosis and their caregivers. He specializes in coping with the emotional reactions to the diagnosis, making treatment decisions, work and career challenges, and communicating with partners and healthcare professionals. And I'll just note that Gary very kindly offered to let us share his contact information and his website. So I'll do that once Gary's presentation gets started in case there's any follow-up that you would like to have separate from the webinar tonight. Before we get started with a quick polling, I would ask that Megan Murray, if you want to go ahead and welcome everyone as well.
Sure. Sarah, that was wonderful. Thank you so much. Welcome everybody to our last partnership of the year that we have with NEHA. We are very excited and we're looking forward to a lot of really great activities for next year. Kind of curious who Michael's #1 fan is in our group here. That kind of made me chuckle a little bit. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for coming. It's going to be a really great opportunity and Sarah's really said everything, so there's not much else for me to say.
Thank you, Megan. We appreciate the partnership. This was a session that Megan and I started talking about back in September, and we thought it'd be fun to do around the holiday season. So I'm glad that our organizations can do this together. Before we get started with our presentations, just a few helpful webinar points. As a reminder, this session will be recorded tonight. If you prefer not to be included with your video in the recording, we would encourage you to turn off your camera. Our webinar will last approximately 1 hour, although it may go a little bit longer with some of our interaction and questions. Speaking of interaction, this webinar is certainly intended to be interactive. So if you have any questions, the chat is the best place to put those into. We'll do our best to answer them as quickly as we can following the presentation. And I think during Michael's session, there may be some opportunity to unmute audio for questions to Michael, especially on how to wrap that perfect bow. And I would say too, with all of our presentations, if there's anything that you would prefer not to have public to the group, please feel free to send it to me as a private chat and I would be happy to share it anonymously. If you experience any tech issues, we would ask that you please comment in the chat and we'll do our best to provide support. I think Rich is on tonight as well, so we can all help troubleshoot. And during Michael's gift wrap presentation, you're welcome to wrap alongside him or just listen and be entertained. So before I turn it over to Gary, it's that time for our polling. So please go ahead and grab your cell phone, which I'm sure many of you already have. And we're going to do some quick polling to get started. So vote by texting the number 781-412-7971 and tell us, what is your favorite holiday tradition? So give this a few minutes to populate. You can put that in here. And I think the holiday season can certainly extend through Thanksgiving. So tell us, what is your favorite holiday tradition? Nice. I see family as the first one. I think that that is certainly an appropriate one to get us kicked off. Food. I can relate to that. Christmas movies. Awesome. 7 fishes on Christmas Eve. That's great. I think that we must have someone with Italian heritage joining us there. Giving, Feast of the 7 Fishes again, family. Awesome. I appreciate that giving comment there. I think that's great. So give that just another minute or so for people to share some thoughts with. Christmas morning, Christmas lights. Great. Christmas decorations. Awesome. We have a lot in our neighborhood this year, which is new to us. So it's been nice to see all the lights and things. I'm going to go ahead and move to the next question here. So tell us, what is your preferred gift wrapping method? Text 1 if it's bag and tissue paper. Text 2 for if you like to do a traditional wrapping paper and bow. And text 3 if you just don't mind a good old fashioned plastic or paper bag. So go ahead and put it in there. Text your answer and we'll see what we come up with. I like that wrapping paper and bows is at the top. I admit I am more of a bag and tissue paper person, but that's mostly because I'm usually running out the door and that's the fastest thing that I can grab. So awesome. All right. Well, clearly our overwhelming favorite is wrapping paper and bows. And I think that that's what Mike will be focusing on tonight. So you came to the right place. All right, let me go ahead and move to the next question. Appropriate for the season, what are you most grateful for this time of year? And this should populate as a word cloud, so you'll have a chance to see what everyone has written, and our words that are bigger are the ones that people have put multiple times. So it looks like family, CHS, NEHA, awesome, my kids, great, health, and that's, I think this year especially that certainly resonates. It's great. Santa, family and health, my kids, it's love, it's family is definitely the overwhelming word that's coming up here. CHS, great, awesome. I'll give that just another few seconds and then I'll move on to our next question here. Thank you, Nancy Messina. I like that there. That's great. All right, so let me move to the next one. What is one word to describe how you're feeling now? And I put this on there specifically, thinking about Gary's presentation and what he'll be discussing. I think that it's important that, for him as a presenter and for us to be, candid and share where we're at. And I should also say that the answers that you submit here are confidential. We do not know who is associated with these words. So please know that as you're putting them in, they are not shared. They are really here for us to just understand where people are at. So I appreciate, it looks like stressed, busy, overwhelmed. I think those are all words, tired, that many of us can probably identify with, especially this year. Excited, content, awesome, exquisite, uncertain. All right, I'm going to move to our final question here. Thank you all for sharing. We'll finish off with, what is your 2021 resolution? Thinking about next year, I think the year that we are all so anxious to move to, have none. Yep, I can understand that. To be more present, vacation, travel. Let's hope that those are some things that will be easier to do in the new year. Drink more water. Awesome. Not to make a resolution. I can understand that. A lot of resolutions I made this year that just didn't happen. More self-care. I think that's awesome. Okay. Family camp, more Zooming, Looks like family camp has now taken the lead as a popular one there, to be more present in the moment. I think that's awesome. Don't yell at my husband. Not swear, eat less sugar. Awesome. Make a lot of money. Well, you can donate that to NEHA, whoever put that in there, and CHS if you're looking for a good cause to use that money. All right, wonderful. Thank you all so much for sharing. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen here. With that, let me take myself off Spotlight. And I am now going to turn it over to Dr. Gary Mclean, our speaker for tonight's presentation. Gary, as I said, we're so happy to have you here. You're always such a wonderful speaker and somebody who really presents an important light and energy, particularly at this time. So Gary, thank you so much, and I'll let you take it away.
Thank you very much. I'm so honored to be here. It's an honor and a great pleasure, and always so wonderful to work with my friends at HFA. So I really was thrilled to have this opportunity. And by the way, I just want to mention real quick that I'm very time conscious. You might remember that about me. So I will go about 35 minutes to make sure Michael has plenty of time. And I will make this presentation available to you if you want it, in case you want to put it up in case you thought about something you wanted to review. My email address will be at the end, and I always welcome your email. So feel free to contact me if you have questions later on as well. So I'm going to talk just briefly about having a better year, basically a better holiday, and then a little bit about the year ahead. I'm going to give you hopefully lots of ideas to do that. You might remember, if nothing else, I'm very practical. I'm all about practical ideas. So it's my goal for 2020 tonight, that you have something that you can take away that will be of value to you. So again, so happy and honored to be here. Thank you very much. So life as we know it. Quick review of past stressors. These are stressors that we may find ourselves missing. We're used to doing too much, planning too much, and we're finding this year that things are very different. So I'm going to talk about more of what's different this year. We're hearing about smaller gatherings, distancing, masks, travel restrictions, restaurant restrictions, come and go, financial challenges. Basically, the holidays won't be the same this year. I'm starting out a little bit down. Now we're going to pick it up from there. So this is kind of life as we know it. Let's figure out how to make it better. What I want to mention first is that perception is reality, and it's very easy to focus on what we can't do this December. And if you haven't thought about that, just look at the internet. They'll tell you all about what you can't do. And we can focus on restrictions, we can focus on what's possible. And that's what I really want to start out with. Let's all kind of open our minds and focus on what's possible this year, and what we can do to have a really great holiday season. And I think we can do that. One of my clients said, "This is the year to be creative." And I said, yes, I'm gonna start saying that to everybody. So I'm just saying, let's open our hearts and open our minds. And here we are. And I say that every day to somebody, here we are. But let's look beyond the traditions that we normally think about, and really embrace the essentials and how we can be joyful. So that's kind of the starting point here. Want to just encourage you, and as parents, maybe to encourage your children as well, to watch your self-talk. Our minds go to dark and unproductive places when we're feeling disappointed or frustrated. Our minds go to dark places when we're focusing on what's not. And we fall into kind of either or thinking. For example, if we can't have a holiday season like last year, let's just chalk this up to as a net loss. Let's just give up. We can't have that. We got nothing. Catastrophizing. I don't see anything good about the holidays. This is just kind of going to be. It's all going to be awful. And awfulizing. You're suggesting we what this year? I can't see anything good about that. That's going to be awful. So when you find these thoughts creeping up, talk back to them, focus on what's possible. And when you hear this coming from your kids, say, you know, let's look at this another way. Yes, it's different, but maybe it's not awful. Let's try to reframe where we can. Watch out for misplaced control. It's human to want to be in control of what happens in life. If we've learned anything from this pandemic, I think we've learned that we're not in control. I knew that beforehand. I think you did too. But I think we relearned how much we don't have control over, how life is very uncertain. And I think that the pressure to have fun and to make sure others have fun can lead to being kind of controlling and micromanaging. And I see this and I hear this every year. Let's have fun. Let's do this. Make sure you do it. Let's do this. And at some point, all the micromanaging, you have to have fun, so it takes the fun out of it. This is the year, I think, to really engage the 80-20 rule. Do what's reasonable, but leave room for input, for an element of surprise, for things not being perfect and not being as staged and picture perfect, but being a little disorganized, a little messy here and there. And let's just kind of lighten up on ourselves and lighten up on our families. We are supposed to enjoy the holidays. And again, I find myself saying that to every year when a client says, this didn't go well, and I'm worried about that, and I didn't get this in the oven on time, and I say, we're supposed to be enjoying the holidays. What happened here? You're not a stage manager. Have fun. This is the year. Have fun. Don't try to manage the stage. So that was kind of mindset stuff. Now I want to give you some ideas that I'm hoping will help you to find some joy. So we went to the mindset. Now let's get a little more specific about some ideas. And really, I'm going to say one more time: open your heart, open your mind, and be open to potential joy. Enjoy in ways that you didn't expect to experience it. I came from a family. My parents aren't living anymore, but I came from a family with a lot of traditions. Certain things had to happen on Christmas Eve. Certain things had to happen on Christmas Day, and it was some years it felt like a forced march in some ways, but things had to go a certain way. And I'm encouraging you, if you celebrate Christmas, celebrating Hanukkah, celebrating other holidays, to be open to celebrating whatever holidays you enjoy, to celebrating again in a new and very different way. And we have technology to kind of help us with that. Contemplate what the holidays mean for you. And I think this is a year when we do have to take a step back from the traditions, to say, if we're taking a step back from tradition, what's really the essential of the holiday? What are the essentials at my house? And think about giving, eating, connecting, reconnecting, seeing my loved ones smile. I'm looking at this list. I don't see anything we can't do. I think these are all possible. What's the problem? It may be in a different form, but we can do it. So why should the pandemic prevent you, me, from experiencing the essence of the holiday season? So really take a step back and think, what's essential? What do we really want to accomplish and share over the holidays? Let's really start there with the essentials. These, again, this little list I gave you, they all seem possible to me, just in a different format. Lose the guilt. And I'm really saying this to parents. Parents, I think, carry a lot of guilt into the holidays. I just remember my mom, how I felt that she had so much guilt, that things had to go a certain way, and everybody had to be happy, and she would plan so far in advance to make sure we had a joyful holiday. And I think if my mom had to go through something like this, she would have been feeling, how are you all going to be happy? We can't do this, we can't do that. So I'm saying this to parents. This is a year to accept. And carrying all this anguish over holiday restrictions that we don't have any control over can really lead to a lot of stress and a woulda, coulda, shoulda. So, let's all join together and just embrace the joy and let go of the guilt. We're not in control. Life as we know it is different this year. So let's again lose the guilt, open up, and just say, how can we be happy? Where can we find the joy? have some honest conversations. And I've been hearing already over Thanksgiving time, families calling other family members and saying, look, we have to have an honest conversation here. I'm not comfortable about coming to your house this year. I'm just not. And I know you've opened the possibility. I appreciate that. I just can't do it this year. And I'm worried about the kids. We can't do it. Have to be honest. I want to share Thanksgiving with you. How can we do that? And I think families have had a lot of very honest conversations. And I'm guessing you're probably already 3 steps ahead of me. You probably had other honest conversations, but with co-celebrators, whether it's coworkers, neighbors, friends. If you have neighbors that your kids and their kids, you have a big party, probably don't want to do that this year. We have to have a lot of honest conversations. And I'm saying to everybody, be patient, be open-minded, recognize that some people aren't really worried. If we get 30 of us in a room and we take our masks off, no big deal. That may be a big deal to you. Other people are saying, if you bring a package over, drop it in front of the doorstep, I'm going to walk out with Clorox and spray it down first. We're going, what? You're doing that to my packet? Yes, I am. It's being scrubbed down before it comes into my house. It may be radioactive. Okay, fine. We have to be patient with each other. You know, we're all on the spectrum here in terms of how we're dealing with this. So I'm saying be patient, be open to your friends, family members, what they feel they need to do, and know your own boundaries. That's okay, or it's not okay, but I'm going to accept that. If somebody is not so concerned as you are, there's room for all of us. But again, we have to set limits here and do what's right for you and your family. Open mind. Again, we all have different perspectives here, and be open, but follow what's right in your own heart and what you need to follow. Honesty, I think, is important here. Openness, kindness, compassion, honesty. So I already mentioned patience is needed. Some of us are more anxious than others. Some of us active mask wearers, others not so much. And again, you may have friends and family that are just saying, we're not coming near anybody this year. And I have friends who still don't go to the grocery store. They still order everything and still Clorox it, spray it down before it comes into the house. And I have other friends and acquaintances, so I feel, shouldn't you be a little more careful here? Are you really okay with that? So as you plan, again, give yourself permission to take care of yourself, and give your friends and your family members permission to. There's room for all of us, but again, follow what you need to do. Engage your co-celebrators in recreating the holidays. This is a time to sit down and say, let's talk about what we can do this year. And I can give you some examples. I have a friend that comes from a very large family, and they're all half a day's drive from each other. Every year they take turns whose house they go to. And everybody stays overnight. They have a big dinner, a pajama party, and everybody stays overnight and camps out in the basement. And it's just a big fun, family, crazy, stand in line for the bathroom kind of celebration. And they've all independently decided, we really can't do that this year. But we have elderly parents who really, really count on this. And what can we do to take care of ourselves, protect ourselves? What can we do for mom and dad or for grandma and grandpa to make sure they have an enjoyable holiday also? So they're kind of designating, okay, there's just us and 2 kids. That makes 6 of us. We'll spend it with the grandparents. We'll bring a computer with us. During the dinner, we'll all eat together. Computer will be set up. We'll all watch each other eat. We'll have a few laughs. We'll have a Zoom party. And to me, that is just really innovative. And I'm grateful for all the technology we have. I graduated from high school many years ago, and I have an older brother and a younger brother and sister. And I was saying to them, if this had happened in the 70s when we were in school, I don't know what would have happened. I don't know what life would have been like if we'd had a pandemic in the 70s. We wouldn't have had any of this. So I think I don't know if I would say perfect timing, but if this had to happen, I'm sure glad it happened now and not 30, 40 years ago. I don't know what would have happened. So we've got the tools. Let's all be grateful. Let's make use of the tools. So I think it's important, again, to have honest conversations, think about what's possible and think about what's not so possible this year, and do some brainstorming about how can we keep these traditions going. So what I'm saying is the restrictions that we're all living under, depending on your state, and the guidelines that you have put in play for yourself, there's room for all of this. Technology has made this possible. Create some new traditions. I'm going to bring that word creative out. And, some of your regular traditions are fun. Some may border on, kind of being a chore. And this is the year to say maybe some of these traditions that require all of us in the same room that were kind of a chore, maybe we can jettison some of those traditions this year. And what if we all started from scratch and came up with some new ways to celebrate? What if, what if I'll say that the person in the moon came down and landed. We said it's December celebrations. So go ahead, person in the moon, tell us how to celebrate. And this person from the moon who has no idea about traditions said, well, I think you ought to do this, and we could all do this independently, technologically, and we can do this. By the way, person in the moon, we can't be in the same room together. Okay, got it. So what if we had this person from the moon come down and say, here's how to celebrate the holidays from scratch. And we came up with all these amazing things. And I've been doing some Googling around how to celebrate and how to enjoy the holidays when we can't be in contact. And there's a lot of really interesting ideas on Google as well. So you might sit down and do some Googling around this and come up with some really interesting ideas about the holidays. Who knows? It could be really fun. My father's side of the family, we used to all get together and go to a restaurant in Michigan called Bill Knapp's. It was a glorified hamburger place. And we would get a table for about 20 of us, book it 3 months in advance, and we would all, or have a Sunday dinner, order cheeseburgers and have fun together. And I was thinking about, that Bill Knapp's dinner at Bill Knapp's would not have been happening this year. What would we have done instead? And I'm guessing two of the grandkids would have gone to grandma's with a computer. The rest of us would have Zoomed, and we would have had a very nice little dinner of some kind. Make the same cookie recipe together, or make the same eggnog or something, and celebrate, toast each other together. Who knows? There are a lot of ways to do this. Keep the get-togethers on the schedule. And I'm hearing, and I'm leading up to holiday depression at some point, but I'm hearing a lot of cancellations. And I'm hearing clients say, if we can't do it the normal way, it just takes the fun out of it. We're just not going to get together this year. And I'm saying to them, what time do you usually get together? Well, the Sunday before Christmas, get together. Well, I'm not flying to Florida. I didn't say fly to Florida, but come on, think about it. Get together, Zoom. Don't let this fall to the side. So regular schedule. If your kids count on certain things happening at certain times, let them happen. Again, keep it on schedule. Even a virtual activity, watching a holiday movie together, whatever it is. This is the time to hunker down and isolate. And I'm saying, no, it's not. It's the time to really keep the traditions going in a new way. Think about a holiday food start. I have a client say, every year my sister-in-law, bless her heart, gets up at 5 in the morning and cooks an amazing turkey. And my client said, I have no idea how to cook a turkey. I'm afraid I'll give my family botulism. And I don't even want to try it. And I've always appreciated my sister-in-law, but I really appreciate her this year when we don't what we're going to do about a turkey. So I said, let's brainstorm a little bit. I'm not a dietitian or a party planner, but What else could you do? How about if you went Indian this year? I just happen to love Indian food, but what if you went Mexican? What if you went Italian? What if you cooked another kind of protein or whatever? But think about, maybe sit down with the recipe book. Kids love this. Or Google recipes and have the whole family vote on what regional cuisine do you want to try this year, or what alternate protein do you want to try, and what alternate desserts. And let's sit down and each person in the family be responsible for managing their recipe. I help you cook, but you're in charge of the pie, of the coconut custard, my personal favorite, coconut custard pie this year. You're in charge of the enchiladas, whatever. What if you tried something and just made this fun and exciting? Not only hanging our heads and say, well, and shrugging our shoulders and say, well, let's try to get through this. Don't try to get through this. Make this joyful. Try something really cool and amazing and really fun. The holidays are all about food in one way or another. So try some really fun food this year. Share ideas. Somebody has an idea you haven't thought of. You might have a few for them. So call people, email and say, what are you all doing for the holiday? You doing anything interesting that maybe, here's what we're up to. And maybe you have any ideas to share. So get your network together and share some ideas as well. So there's some additional ideas for parents, pandemic parenting. Talk with your children. Children are feeling disappointed. Many, not all, but many kids are feeling at least some level of disappointment during the holiday season. The school parties probably haven't happened. They're certainly not in the same way. The neighborhood parties, if you belong to a religious organization, maybe the Hanukkah party with the other kids, or the Christmas party, Kwanzaa party is maybe not going to happen this year. Kids are feeling disappointed. And I always say to parents, make your home a safe space. We use that term a lot this year. Encourage your kids to talk about the holidays. How are you feeling about the holidays? How are you feeling about, I know we can't do the party at school this year. How are you feeling about that? Give your kids a chance to say, this really sucks. Give them a chance to say that. Let them vent and say, okay, I know. I'm disappointed too. I really miss our family get together. I'm really sad about that. I think it sucks too. How can we make it better? So give everybody a chance to talk about how they're feeling. Kids often feel, I shouldn't talk about how disappointed I am about the holiday because I know mom is feeling sad and guilty about it. Dad is feeling guilty and sad about it. I'm not going to bring it up. Let them bring it up. Talk it out together. That's the beginning of coming up with some new ideas. So vent. Involve your children in creating the holiday makeover. Again, brainstorm, assign tasks, see what your kids come up with. Your kids might have some wild and crazy ideas about everybody coming up with a costume, having a pajama party, a costume party, a karaoke night. You can do that on the internet these days. You can do a lot of fun and crazy things that you've never thought about before. So give it a try. Give it a try. What is it? Necessity is the mother of invention. It's something like that. But anyway, reinvent. Some of these traditions you may say, we're going to keep doing this. We're gonna go back to some of the old ones, but we're gonna add a few new ones. Encourage your kids to stay connected with friends. Again, our parents are telling me the kids feel really dejected again about no school or no neighborhood parties, and the kids are just saying, I'm not even going to try. I don't even care this year. I can't do what I want to do. I don't care. Kids can be resistant to stepping out of their comfort zone. They may not immediately see an alternative to the holiday party or the family party. Sit down and talk to your kids. Who would you like to get together with this year? Who would you like to be in touch with? What about you? What if you and 3 of your school friends Skyped on Christmas morning? What if you took 15 minutes and talked and Skyped on Christmas morning or Christmas Eve or on Hanukkah, or whatever, or in Kwanzaa, what if you celebrate? What if some of your friends did a little Skype? We'll hook you up. A first grader parent can say, we'll get you all set up, and you can all talk to each other and share what you're doing at home and share what you're eating. So sit down and talk with your kids. Who do they want to be in touch with? Set up virtual sessions. And if you have teens, you may have to do some pushing with resistant, sullen teenagers. You may have to do some pushing there too. Say, come on, let's get this going. Come on, let's get it going. Let's get it going. Stay connected. Easy to let these things fall apart and isolate. And that makes for a very isolated, sad Christmas. Don't forget the joy of serving others. And we have a lot of people right now who are struggling this year. And so maybe look for some ways, maybe a new tradition would be to do something of service. Maybe it's donating some food. You might not be able to go to someone's home to donate or help, but what's something we could all do together? And the other thing I want to mention is reach out to friends, neighbor, family members who you feel may be especially lonely during the holiday. If you have some elderly neighbors, you're not sure if their family's visiting them. What if on the day or the eve of one of the holidays you celebrate, you brought some goodies over and you knocked on the door and said, hi, just want to give you some holiday goodies. How you doing? We're checking in on you. What if you called a neighbor or a friend? If you have a single friend who you may be worried that they're doing anything, you know, they usually go to Florida. They're not this year. What if you called them up and said, hey, how you doing? Would you like to stop over? Or can we bring you over some snacks or something? But think about participatory kind of service that we can do for other people. Again, where you can, traditions in place, as I mentioned, and technology to the rescue. Let's talk about goal setting for 2021 a little bit. Talk about SMART goals. If any of you work in a corporation, you're probably already aware of SMART goals. You may be already rolling your eyes. I have this at work already. My annual review. I didn't need to hear this right now, but if you're thinking about goal setting for the year, one of the reasons that people don't follow up on their goals or their resolutions is that they're not SMART goals. They're very kind of lofty, very generalized goals. So as we think about the year ahead, think about specific. What do I want to attain specifically? Not, I want to have more money this year, but I want to have a better job. I want to work on getting a better job. Specific, measurable. How do you measure that goal? Is it how much is it weight loss? I want to gain, not I want to look better next year, but I want to lose 10 pounds next year. Make it measurable. Something attainable, something I want to buy a mansion next year. Maybe something a little more attainable, something that's more realistic, that's more possible, realistic, and something tangible also. And I want to be happier next year, but what would make you happy? Well, if I were able to, if I got more exercise, I'd be happy. Okay, that's tangible. If I planned a vacation for when we can have vacation, okay, that's tangible. If I got my kids involved in doing something more that they enjoy, that's tangible. So just throw out some goals real quick. Sell my house for $1 million next year. Yeah, that's reasonable. If the market will bear in your area, fine. Become an important and respected figure in my profession. Well, what does that mean? Let's break that down into pieces. That might mean being able to maybe setting up a blog. Starting point would be a blog. So maybe we do a blog next year. That's the goal. Buy a big screen TV before football season starts. Reasonable if it's attainable. If you can afford it, makes sense. Put a date on it. Improve my business writing skills. Absolutely. You can take a class for that. Be in good physical shape when I get older. What does that mean in good shape? Well, I want to start running twice a week. I want to exercise. I want to lose weight. Attainable and specific. Live in a paradise-like setting without having to work. Well, I don't know. Let's break that down into the pieces. What does that look like? 401k, and then And then again, break it down. What I'm saying is people don't follow up on their resolutions because they get frustrated, because they've set up goals that are not really attainable and aren't reasonable for them. So set up some smart goals for yourself, and just a small number. Don't overwhelm yourself with goals and gotta do this. Just want to just give you some ideas for keeping a positive attitude as we get into the next year. When are things going to get better? I don't know. What can I do to improve the situation? That I can do something about. I can't control getting back to normal and everybody being vaccinated and whatever that's going to mean. I don't have any control or dates that I can give you. But what I can say to myself and you is, what can I do to improve the situation? Like we're talking about today, that we can do. Why won't my boss friends' kids communicate better? What can I do to communicate better? Maybe it starts with me. I sent her an email a week ago. What's it take to reply? I'll give her a call. So what I'm saying, as we enter into the new year, let's give ourselves space. Let's give other people space, and let's be willing to blink first. If we're not hearing from somebody, let's be willing to give them a call. So I'm saying, open your heart, open your mind as we move into the next year. Emotional foundation for success. I've talked about these. I'm going to quickly go through them. Negative self-talk, talk back to it. Any failure, opportunity to learn. Manage your stress buttons. Be grateful, and that attitude of gratitude. I'm so glad Sarah, you started out with that, because I'm encouraging everybody every morning, be grateful. Set up a text message with your friends, share it, both of you be grateful. Let everybody be grateful this year. Let yourself be human, let yourself make mistakes where nobody's on their A game right now. You, your family, your colleagues, your coworkers, let's give everybody some space. Don't be overwhelmed when other people judge you. Let other people have their judgments. Focus on yourself and doing the right thing. Open to feedback. Continue to build relationships and believe in yourself. This is just an attitude to an emotional foundation to have a better year in 2021. Let's all try to focus on that. I'm winding down because I want to make sure Michael has plenty of time, and I want to sit in on it also. I'm a terrible gift wrapper. Watch out for stress. Watch out for your own stress, your family members, your friends, people you work with. Watch out for stress. If you're not acknowledging stress, it interferes with communications. We're all under stress right now. This has been a year of anxiety, and we're all feeling stress, and affects your physical health, your mental health. Harder to make decisions. Watch it. You've all had the Stress 101 lecture, but again, feeling helpless, hopeless, not going to work, taking mental health days often, losing control, getting angry, difficulties in relationships, eating, sleeping. Keep an eye on yourself. Keep an eye on your partner, your friends. Keep an eye on your children as well. Your children may not be telling you how stressed out they are. Keep an eye out for symptoms of holiday depression. And I'm talking to a lot of people about depression right now. They're feeling really down this year, and this pandemic fatigue is wearing people out. It's wearing people out. In New York City, we're back to school, we're home, we're back to school, we're home. Restaurants are open, they're closing, they're opening. It's exhausting, and it leads to hopeless feelings, withdrawal, irritability. I'm hearing lots of anger right now. Anger is a cover for depression. It can be. Shutting down, not participating, crying, lack of pleasure as you plan for the holiday. If you see your kids, your partner not participating as we start to plan, they may be having some depression. Not enjoying the holiday foods, experiencing fatigue. When the going gets tough, reach out to a mental health professional. Reach out for help. Call your friends, family members, people you work with through HFA, NEHA, and a mental health professional. We're standing by also, and I have never been busier as I have during this pandemic, because people are struggling. We're having a global pandemic of mental health as well. People are struggling. And if you're feeling the struggle at your house, reach out, get help, and get your partner to help, get your kids to help, to get some help. Help them along to find the help. Guiding principle, keep the spirit of the holiday in your heart and your mind. The pandemic cannot take away your holiday spirit. It cannot, unless you choose and allow it to. Your holiday spirit is your holiday spirit. It's here. Enjoy it. Find ways to share the spirit with everyone. Just stay upbeat and optimistic and positive. That's the spirit of the holiday. Be compassionate. Let yourself be human. Turn off the self-criticism. Let people around you be human and celebrate. Embrace the joy of the holidays. I'm standing by. Feel free. I know we have a lot to do tonight, and we have more coming. So feel free to send me an email or visit my website, justgotdiagnosed.com. But feel free to send me an email as well. I will answer your email. Keep the cards and letters coming. So feel free. So thank you. I'm so honored to be here, and so thrilled to have this opportunity to talk to you. And thank you very much. Thank you, Sarah and Michael and Megan. Thank you very much. And I'll turn it over to Michael now. Thank you again. Thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Gary, very much. I'm going to interject quickly before Michael jumps on. I did put into the chat Gary's information if anyone has any follow-up questions. There were some great ideas that came into the chat, including a cooking demonstration for second graders, which I loved, and then a reminder about practicing gratitude early in the morning with technology off. One question, Gary, that came in, and Michael, I'll let you queue up maybe while Gary's answering this question so we can get to your section next. But Gary, somebody asked, what would be the best way for somebody to process, to help their kids process feelings when they don't have the words to describe those feelings yet?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Kids aren't always know how to express their feelings. I think just sitting down and say, how are you? How are you doing? And nonverbal, letting kids sit on your lap and cry if they want to, and just lots of hugging, I think is a very important nonverbal way to help kids express their feelings by giving you a squeeze.
That's great. Thank you, Gary. Appreciate that insight. And I know for me, one thing that's really resonating following your presentation is thinking about this as an opportunity to create new traditions and new habits, as opposed to dwelling on old traditions that maybe we can't do in the same way. And that's okay. And as with life, things change, and it's about how we adapt to that. So I appreciate that